Hey folks, so today we're going to go over what I found to be a method of replacing the light seals on the Sinar Norma. And it's possible this will also work on other cameras, but this is the one that I have, and this is what I found to work pretty well. So I'll switch the camera so you can see what I'm doing, and we'll get right into it. Alright, so here's a 4x5 back from the Sinar Norma. I'm going to go ahead and take off these top nuts here. And then slide the standard off. Just like that. Okay. And before you do that, just pay attention so that you notice the bubble levels here are on the right side with in alignment with this knob. So here we go. Take the back off. Now we have just the empty frame, and we're going to use a small flathead screwdriver to take off this bottom piece. There's two little screws here. Careful not to lose the screws. So this slides right off. Okay. This top one can stay on. It's not really in the way. So it may be difficult to see, but it looks like the old material here was cotton thread, which you could certainly use again. It's not in terrible shape, but you can see a few spots where it's missing, especially on this side here. It's missing on the bottom. But the way this has been put on is that on the bottom of the standard, the light gasket is flat on the bottom, whereas the rest of it is in the channel on the bottom of the channel here. So we'll replace this with a new 1mm foam material. But the first step is getting this old gasket out and the old adhesive off. So I'm just going to use this flathead screwdriver to peel this off, and actually it's pulling right out. That's handy. Yeah, so there's the old material there. This cotton thread. And I've read that works well, but for this I got some 1mm foam instead. Okay, now I'm just going to use a little bit of Goo Gone, this goof off stuff. You could also use I've used camp stove fuel, like white gas, for other parts of cleaning the Norma, so that would work, I think, as well. But I'm just going to put a little bit in here to loosen up the old adhesive. And then once you've got that on there, you can just scrape it with this screwdriver, and it'll come right off. Alright, another thing I found useful is Q-tips to get in here and clean off the extra, dry it out. The cleaner you get it, the better the double stick tape will adhere. And I suppose if you wanted to be really careful and not get some of the black paint off in here, you could use like a wood scraper instead of the screwdriver, but I'm not worried about it. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna do both sides because I don't want to get Goo Gone on the new adhesive. So I'll do all the cleaning first, and then put the new material on. Can also soak a little goo on the Q-tip. Use that. Okay, that looks pretty good. Great. That looks pretty clean. So the new material that I got for the light seals is this 1mm thick rubber with a self-adhesive backing. Got it on Amazon, I believe. Yeah. And I'll put a link down in the description, but I saw several kinds of 1mm foam. Some of them were like specific to light seals and were much more expensive. This was really affordable and seems like the same product. So let me just go get a straight edge and then we'll cut it into little strips. All right, I got my straight edge. So let me just show you. So this is the bottom of the standard, and we're gonna install that piece here on the flat, this flat side here, whereas the sides are gonna go in. And I'm just gonna cut this into strips, very thin strips. The larger the standard, like the 8x10, the larger the strips. And the bottom strip looks like it's a little fatter than the side. So I'm gonna do this first one a little bit thicker, but it's only a few millimeters wide. So there you have it. About 14 centimeters. So go ahead and cut that to length. Oh, forgot my chopstick. I found that this chopstick works pretty well for smoothing it in. Okay, peel the adhesive off. And then this one's gonna go here on the flat. Didn't quite get it in, touching the back. And I try not to stretch it as I put it in, so that it stays at its proper thickness. And then I just use my chopstick to, oops, guess gotta be a little gentle with that. Yeah, just gently smooth it in there. I think if you push really light at first and then a little harder, that works good. Yeah, great. So that one's in. And then the rest of these go flat in the bed of the channel. And you want to make sure that it's right flat in the bottom and not like creeping up the side. Nice. So we've done this bottom and this side. Now we're going to do these two. Cut the tip off. You don't want to have any areas that are thicker because then the lens board might not sit flush, or the bellows or the back frame, whatever you've got mounted in there, you want it to sit really nice and flush against this gasket. All right, last section. Having the right width is really helpful, and a little bit long too, so I'm gonna cut that. Okay. All right, here's what I'm hoping is a better view. So here you can see the bottom, how this gasket is down here. It's not on the side like this. And then the rest of these are down in the channel. And the reason for that is once this thing is on here, this is where your lens board sits in the bottom. And you can imagine if the gasket was here and you go to tuck your lens board in there, it would mess it up. It would keep disengaging the adhesive, whereas on the bottom here you can see it pushes right into that gasket and then clips at the top. So I'm working here on a 5x7 rear standard, and it's different than the front. It doesn't have that same bottom difference on the bottom of the standard. All of these, all four sides, the gasket sits in the channel. So on the rear standard, the gasket goes down flat in the bottom of the channel, and on the front standard, it's a different orientation for the bottom piece. The original gasket, on my 8x10, it was all this crackly old kind of foam material that turned to dust when I chipped it out. But yeah, some people recommend this cotton thread. That would work fine. Just use a little adhesive. I think the nice thing about this peel and stick foam is it'll be easy to replace without having to do the whole Goo Gone thing. So this one I just replaced all the seals on. This one's actually for sale. This is my favorite format, the 5x7. But on this is the earlier version, the original Norma version, where they had metal helical focusing gears, and for whatever reason this black board does not fit. It doesn't want to go in, but the green fits fine. So I don't know if that's, I don't know why that is, but interesting. So if you have the older Norma and you do the foam seals, you'll have to have these green lens boards. I believe when I got this camera, it had no light seals, and then the black ones fit fine, but I was getting a little bit of light leak, so maybe try the cotton thread, which you could probably just get at the fabric store, and maybe with the cotton, the black lens boards would work. So yeah, that's my suggestion. Anyway, I hope you found this useful, and if anybody knows a better way to do this, or if I did something wrong, by no means an expert here, just trying to keep these beautiful old cameras alive and working well. So yeah, I hope this was helpful, and see you on the next one.